little body and soul to get us started off with here. Talking about jazz chords tonight, so I thought I just reminded of that old arrangement by my old teacher, Johnny Frisco in San Antonio, Texas. So there you go. All right, tonight I wanted to talk about arpeggios. I had printed out a list of common arpeggios that you can practice for doing jazz sort of lines. Now, this is out of our bonus resources book that we did with the Gibson's Learn to Master Guitar course that I did. So this is a couple of pages out of that, but you can download the PDF at our brand spanking new discussion board. Man, it's the first live lesson of the year. So many things to tell you about. We've got a new discussion board. We complained about the old one enough for years, and over Christmas we started another one, a new one. It's at guitargathering.com/community. guitargathering.com/community is our brand new discussion board. We already have 400 people that are on our discussion board. If you have not yet signed up, head on over there, sign up, put up a profile pic, go to them. We have a little map where members are putting up where they're from. It is great. We have streaming things we're going to be adding over there. There's videos over there. There's freebies that you can download, plus the greatest group of guitar learners that you can find. If you're interested in keeping up with everything that we do, head on over. I'm so thankful to say we've got a brand new, great discussion board. I can pop on there anytime, day or night, and I have in the middle of the night the last few weeks, and there's always somebody in the chat there waiting to talk about guitar wherever they're from. So sometimes they're overseas, sometimes they're right around the United States, but I've talked to folks from the other side of the world on our guitar discussion board. Join it if you can. It's great. We're going to be adding so much stuff there. There's a section in the discussion board called Live Lessons. In there, I try and put up a thread for each of the live lessons and in each thread is going to be the PDFs that you can download. It's all free. Just go there and you can download these pages. All right, arpeggios. Before we get into these arpeggios, I included a little exercise called the Phil Keaggy hand stretching exercises. I was just reminded of this with some of these arpeggios, which have a rather large range of that you have to spread your fingers. So I thought it might be great for us to do this together. So that is what this little chord shape exercise is. Let me show it to you. There's basically five shapes to it. And then the whole idea of it is to stretch your ability of your fingers to go. Have you ever tried to reach for a pretty wide chord and you just can't do it because your hand is just too tight and you just can't stretch? Well, it doesn't have to do with the size of your hand as much as you might think. I've put my hand up to Phil Keaggy's, and we are basically about the same hand size, yet he can do amazing stretches, and it has to do more with finger flexibility than it does with hand size. So this helps you with finger flexibility. So take a look at that chord shape exercise. Let me just kind of go through it with you here for a second. Let's start here at the 10th fret. We're going to start on basically an E-flat major 7th chord. Okay? And then I move my finger. All of this is notated out here. That's just shape 1. Then shape 2. Let me kind of angle my guitar. It might be a little bit easier for you to see. I move my finger out 2 frets. That's tough in itself. Okay? But you try and get each note to ring out nice and clear. Then I move my second finger down 1, just 1 fret. Okay? Then I move my third finger down 1. Then I move my pinky down 1. Then I move my first finger in 1. That's the 5 shapes. Okay? Now, basically, I'm in the same form as I started at. I'm just now a half step lower. So now I'm at what? The 9th fret, the 9th position. So let's go through those again. I put my first finger down 2, second finger down 1, third finger down 1, pinky in, down 1, first finger in. And now I've got my major 7th form down here at the 8th position. As I'm slowly moving down the neck, it's getting wider. It's getting wider. So it's forcing my hands to stretch. And while y'all are enjoying watching me doing this, grab your guitar and you'll see this is not very easy at all to do, especially once you kind of get down here. 2 more frets down. It really stretches you between your fingers. If you've got really any nails at all on this hand, it's not going to be too easy to do. You almost have to have hardly any nails at all. 2 more. And then here's the last one. Or actually, no, I gotta go one more. Here's the last one. A little tough to get. And if you're not begging for mercy by the time we have finished with that, then congratulations. But chances are you will have to stretch a little bit to do that. Now, here's the good news on that. You're not going to do it, if you're like most people, you're not going to do it very well the first time you do it. But try it about day 3, day 4. You'll notice you're able to get about another fret's worth down where you didn't have. Then it's starting to work. Eventually, you'll be able to get all the way down to the bottom of the neck. But at first, you may be only be able to get the first 1 or 2. Your hand will get more flexible in time. It takes a few days. It doesn't work on day 1 and 2, so don't expect results then. But expect the results about day 3 or 4. You'll notice you'll be able to get a little bit more stretching. And then as soon as you can start to do some of these arpeggios that we get to, it's not that big of a deal anymore. Because you've got some hand flexibility to be able to do that. So I thought I would just throw that in for you for tonight. All right, let's take a look at these arpeggio exercises. In jazz, everything is built around 7th chords. Major 7ths, minor 7ths, dominant 7ths, half diminished, fully diminished. They're built around 4-note arpeggios, 4-note chords. Okay, if I just break a chord apart instead of playing it all together, or maybe if I just make it each individual note, C, E, G, B, then I've got an arpeggio. Okay, it's the same notes in a chord, I'm just breaking them up. Something that you do an awful lot in jazz, so it's good to learn the particular patterns of these 4-note chords to get those underneath your fingers. As you have questions, go ahead and type them in. We're trying to monitor actually our Ustream chat and the chat going on the YouTube page as well. So if you have a question, just type it in and we'll try and get to that as well, especially in the second half of the program. All right, so let me just teach you this exercise and I'll show you how to take it to the next level. All right, this is the first exercise. We're going to be up here in the 7th position for this. Remember how we define positions? You go up to the 7th fret. There's 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th. Wherever your first finger lands, that is a position, this sort of 5-note range that your hand fits in. We're going to be in the 7th position, and that's where this starts. Okay? Now, the first one we're going to go is a C major 7th. So in the key of C, if I did 7th chords all the way up through the key, I get a C major 7th, then a D minor 7th, then an E minor 7th, an F major 7th, a G 7th, an A minor 7th, and then a B minor 7 flat 5, or a half diminished. So along the way, I get 2 major 7ths, I get 3 minor 7ths, a half diminished, and a dominant 7th. So you get the 4 main types of 7ths in going through it that way. So that's what I thought we'd start on. Here we go. We're going to do a C major 7th to start off. Now, don't worry about the hammer-ons and stuff just yet. Let's just get the notes. Okay? If I add hammer-ons to it, I could hammer on each of those pairs of notes. Now, arpeggios are a lot of fun because once you get the pattern of it down, then it's something that your fingers can do that you don't really have to think about too much. Oh my goodness, it's a D minor 7th. I'm supposed to solo over it. I don't know what to do. Well, here you already have a pattern that works great over a D minor 7th chord that you always can fall into. Okay, so that's the beauty of arpeggios. So practice them without the hammer-ons, and then with the hammer-ons and pull-offs. The hammer-ons and pull-offs add some extra dexterity things that you may not be able to do. Don't worry about it. I'm doing them fast because we only have a few minutes to cover these, but this would take a normal person several weeks to kind of get these forms. It took me a couple months to get these forms down. Okay, so I've written them all out for you so you can do it. There's a major 7th. Now the next one I would have to do would be a D minor 7th, but I'm still going to stay in the 7th position. The whole idea is that I'm going to play all of these and not move my hand out of the 7th position. So a D minor would then suddenly be this. There's the D, F, A, C, D, F, A, C, D. Go all the way back down. I can even go down one more, maybe to the C, okay, before I get out of the position. If I added the hammer-ons to that, it would be... Some of them, if there's 2 notes on a string, you could do a hammer-on a pull-off. If there's not, you just have to single pick that note. Okay? The next one would be an E minor 7th. Well, there's the E. Well, and then I can keep going, you know, and so that's the E minor 7th. Sounds, once you get the hammer-ons and pull-offs flying, you can get going pretty good on them. F major 7th is the next one. There's the F. I can start on a C. You notice I can skip all the way up here to this high E on that. Okay, that's an F major 7th. Okay. Now I've got what's next, a G7. This is my first dominant 7th arpeggio. There's the G. Okay, next one is an A minor 7th, another minor 7th. This will be our 3rd minor 7th arpeggio that we've learned. Then the last one of these is I know I'm kind of blowing through these real quick. I'm trying to get to something that's coming. I want you to just get the concept. There's a B half diminished. Here's this last one. Okay? Now, think what I've just done. I've gone through every arpeggio in the 7th position, starting with this C on my second finger, this basic scale. Okay? Now, and I've come up with 2 different major 7th forms, 3 different minor 7th forms, a half diminished form, and a dominant 7th form, all in that one thing. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. I know if you haven't done this, this is going to stress you out and it's going to take you several weeks to get these forms. And you're going to think, oh my goodness, it's a gazillion forms. How can any human know this? Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. You can learn it. You can learn it. It's 7 forms. And then you just do it, do it once in the morning, once at night. Guarantee you by the end of the week you'll have those 7 forms down. Then maybe switch positions. Just go down to maybe B flat and do them in the 5th position. So now you're doing a B flat major 7th and a C minor 7th and a D minor 7th. So pay attention to where these root notes are. I can do them down further down the neck. That'll help me get used to playing these in other places. Next time I see an F minor 7th and I don't know what to do, well, I at least have 3 different arpeggios, different areas of the neck I could play it in. If it's down here, I could go. If it's up here, I could go. If it's here, I can do. It's here, I can do. So you're going to end up with 4 or 5 different ways you can play these things. So the payoff is huge. Now, let me show you the way to take this the extra mile. And this is what I do. All right? So we did, this whole thing was based off of my C on the 7th position, 2nd finger, up here on the root. Well, what if I declared I'm going to be in the 7th position still, but I'm going to start it with my 1st finger. So then I'm in the key of B, and I'm going to do a B major 7th, a C sharp minor 7th, a D sharp minor 7th, an E major 7th, an F sharp. So I'm just thinking of everything in B. Now, but Steve, couldn't you just scoot down your hand? Yeah, I could. I know that. But I'm trying to build in another set of arpeggios. So once you get those 7 down, then you can go to build them in other with other fingers, and you end up with 7 more. Okay? So if I did this, starting off this B right here, and did a B major 7th, it would be. Then the next one would be a C sharp minor 7th, so I could do maybe. D sharp minor 7th, well. But Steve, that's a million forms. No, they start overlapping. That's the beauty of it. Like this D sharp minor 7th was the same as the D minor 7th in the other form. So you'll see where it seems like, oh my goodness, it's going to be a gazillion forms. They actually start overlapping quite a bit. So you can play through these in various keys and actually only be learning about maybe 10 new forms, and you have a whole bunch of new keys. So the next one would be an E major 7th. Next one would be an F sharp major 7th. What's next? A G sharp minor. What's next? An A sharp half diminished. Oh my goodness, that is painful. Let's see. Okay. And then I've gone through all of those in that key. Then I've done the C major 7th. I already did that one. Well, what if I did C sharp? Well, you'll find doing things off of the 3rd finger root, it just doesn't work. You'll find that out quick enough. You would never actually play those in a real situation, because you just end up using all 3rd and 4ths and no 1st finger. So I generally skip that one. I'm left now with a D, so I'm going to do them in the key of D. So that would be what? A D major 7th? An E minor 7th? Oh, that's the same E minor 7th from the C major 7th ones. What's next? An F sharp minor 7th? Oh, we just did that one. So do you see how they start overlapping? What's next? G major 7th. A dominant 7th. B minor 7th. C sharp half diminished. Yeah. Then I'm going through D. E flat is the same, so I wouldn't need to do new forms for that. E would be the next key that I would do it, so it started E major 7th. F sharp minor 7th, which I've already done. You can see how they're starting to overlap. What's next? A G sharp minor 7th, that which would be. What's next? A major 7th. What's next? A B7. C sharp minor 7th, which I've already done. D sharp half diminished. Have to think about those. What's next? Key? Key of F. F major 7th. G minor 7th. Let's see. A minor 7th. B flat major 7th. C dominant 7th. D minor 7th. E minor 7 flat 5. F sharp's the same. G, I would go through those. G sharp would be the same. A would be a new key. B flat would be a new key. And then I repeat. Then it all starts repeating. So I've basically learned what maybe 4 or 5 different keys, and in those 4 or 5 keys, a lot of those chords overlap, arpeggios overlap, so it's not as daunting as it may first seem. Now, well, Steve, other than that, what does that help me do? It's everything. I need to solo over an F minor 7th, let's say. Let's get my little loop going. So let's see if I got my looper set up here. So if I got a little F minor groove here, 1, 2, 3, 4, so this is a little groove in F minor, and I want to practice my soloing. Well, let's say I'm going to force myself to be on this part of the neck. F minor 7. Let's be up here at the 3rd position. What if I just start applying my Larry Carlton super arpeggio concept to where over an F minor 7th I'll be playing in the key of A flat major. Okay, suddenly I can do A flat major 7th arpeggios. How did I know all that stuff? Because I've got all these arpeggios everywhere. Okay, that was an A flat major 7th arpeggio. What if I did a C minor 7th over an F minor 7th groove? Here's an F minor 7th, so now I'm going to play C minor 7th arpeggio. Maybe I can go back to A flat major 7. You can see all the harmonic possibilities. Anywhere on the neck, suddenly I've got A F minor 7th possibilities, A flat major 7th possibilities everywhere. That's just because I spent some time. For me, it was a summer learning all these dumb arpeggios, okay? It's where you automatically I don't have to think creative ideas. I just have to start blowing through and connecting these arpeggios back and forth. So don't think that these guys are creating, these great soloists are just creating from a blank slate and creating this masterpiece. No, they're taking little bits of arpeggios, little bits of scales, adding some creativity to it, adding some blues notes, some chromaticism. But along the way, there are these little chunks of information, these little arpeggios and scales that their fingers are already familiar with doing. That's what these are. So I'd encourage you, dig into that. If you're already familiar with these basic arpeggios there, that's what starts it. Then start branching out into other keys and other positions. Okay? I'm not a freak. Can I tell you that? I'm not anything special. I just spent way too many summer afternoons in San Antonio, Texas, when other people were out playing and being with their friends. I was doing arpeggios, okay? Next thing you know, I can kind of fake my way through these various songs and solo with doing arpeggios. Let's say I wanted to do a little bit of body and soul. I'll do that in a minute. Let's get to some other things. We have a question by Ellis Papa is saying, can electric guitar player learn classical guitar? Yes, of course. Electric guitar player can learn classical guitar. I played jazz all the way going up through school, but yeah, we got into college and I had to learn classical. So yes, very much so. You'd probably be best to be on a classical guitar, though. Okay, a nylon string instrument, which I don't have one here with me, but a nylon string instrument would help with that. But there's all sorts of, gosh, these rock metal guys now that are doing all sorts of classical sort of work that's brilliant. So you can just type into YouTube classical electric guitar, and you'll have a lot of good fun watching videos with that. Okay, hey, let's give something away. I wanted to give this one away just because it means something to me. This is Brian White, country artist, Grammy-winning country artist. Brian White, who was one of our very first live lesson guests. I mean, he was like, I think, number 2 or 3, way, way, way back when. And this is one of Brian's CDs. So the winner, we've got new winners this year. The winner of this is Tom M. Tom M., you have just won a Brian White CD. Email me at service@mightyoakmusic.com and your mailing address, things like that, and I will send this out to you. And it's just kind of at the beginning of the year, I'm just kind of feeling all sentimental about how far we've come with live lessons. And Brian White was one of our very first live lesson guests. So congratulations, Tom M. Glad you are here with us. All right, lots of things I need to announce for you. Our Guitar Gathering community. We already talked about that a little bit. guitargathering.com/community. We're up over 400 members now just in the last few weeks. We crossed over 400, I think, last night, so it's just tremendously exciting. Great people. If you're looking for encouragement, information, and support, our crazy little guitar forum is a great place to start. Ask your questions there. Other guitar learners there. I'm answering questions. Greg Voros is going to be answering some of the guitar tech questions, guitar setup questions, and he's going to be on there about once every week or two. I'm on there most every day answering questions. If you're looking for, you can't learn guitar alone. I don't know whether you all have picked that up, not yet or not, but guitar learning can be a lonely experience. You need people around you that are wishing you well, encouraging you to go on when it sucks, because there's going to be times it's going to really not be fun to do it. And you need people to encourage you to do that and get some good information along the way. I've been on a lot of the guitar discussion boards, and I'll tell you the truth, a lot of them I'm not impressed with. It's a lot of loudmouths that are up there cussing and putting people down and talking about politics and have nothing to do with guitar. I hate it. That's useless. That's not what our discussion board is about. We're about helping people learn how to play guitar. So if you're on there to make trouble, we will kick you out. With many people, I've joyfully kicked them out. It's not a free speech forum. Our guitar forum is not that. It's not a free speech haven for you to shout your rant or whatever you're hot on at the moment. It's about learning guitar. That's all it is. It's about learning guitar, helping people. So if you're looking for a good place that you can ask questions, nobody feels stupid, and you're just asking questions about what's going on your guitar learning journey, check it out. That's what this place is for. That's our guitar community. All right. Hey, if you want to go to the next level, we have our Guitar Gathering Conference coming up in June, the 20th through the 23rd, right here in Nashville. I don't know what you're going to be doing in June, but wouldn't you rather, instead of being wherever you're at, be here in Nashville, in Music City, USA, steps away from some of the best guitarists on the planet, hanging out, having fun, listening to concerts, learning. That's what this is all about. Check it out at guitargathering2018.com, and you'll get all the information on there. Phil Kagey's going to be joining us. Will McFarlane, Musicians Hall of Fame guitarist, is going to be with us. Christy Lene, fingerstyle guitar champion. I'm talking actually with Molly Tuttle. Y'all don't know Molly. but hopefully we can get Molly Tuttle. She is the flat-picking bluegrass guitarist of the year, a young gal, and absolutely drop-dead phenomenal, talking with Johnny Hyland, talking with all kinds of great people. We already have 23 people signed up. We only have spots for 100. Last year we made it to 75, but this year we have to stop at 100. So if you're interested, come on out. One of the great things we got going on this year is the university that hosts it, Trevecca University. You can actually stay for a few days at Trevecca for save yourself some nights in a hotel for just $60 per person per night. So it's a great deal. So if you're interested, check out. And a lot of people have been asking me. They message me and they say, I'm not very good. I'm just kind of starting. Would the conference help to me? And I say, yes, 1,000 times yes. Here's why. If you're just starting out, even though you don't play really good, this isn't a talent show. This is not American Idol. This is a place for you to come, learn, be inspired by some great players, but also to pick some things up and learn on your own. We've got workshops on everything from songwriting to guitar repair to jazz to fingerstyle to flat picking, basic chords, music theory. We have workshops on all that. There's jam groups. So don't worry about I'm not good enough. You'll be surrounded by people who all think they're not good enough to be there, okay? It's about learning. It's about digging into it. And I can't think of a better place to be inspired and to learn than to come to a good, safe environment where you're steps away from some of the best guitarists in the world in a non-intimidating environment. Don't believe me? Go to our YouTube page. We have our Guitar Gathering YouTube page. We have a video on there, a couple videos back, called What Others Are Saying. Check that out. That's from interviews with people that have come to the conference, and we'll talk and give you the straight scoop on that. So check it out. We also have our Guitar Gathering Conference, 2018 Conference Facebook page. So just look us up on Facebook, and you'll get all the information for the conference as well. If you want to register, guitargathering2018.com is the one for that. Already talked about our Guitar Gathering YouTube page. We have 9,000, can you believe it? We have 9,000 plus subscribers on our YouTube page. Over 1.5 million views on our YouTube page. I'm tickled that we are that. We're going to be hitting 10,000 here soon. We'll have to have some sort of a celebration. But soon we're going to switch over from Ustream into where we're all going to be coming out on our Guitar Gathering YouTube page. So make sure and subscribe for that. That could happen as soon as next week. So if this works as well as I think it's working, we are going to switch over as soon as I can get away from Ustream, which will be next week. All right. Last week's live lesson with Greg Voros on guitar care is up on our YouTube page. So check that out. That turned out very, very well. Now, these jazz songs, like Body and Soul, like I just played, a lot of those, where I learned them from was a big book of songs called the Real Book. We have a couple of Real Books in our store, and they come with tracks. But Steve, how do I learn how to solo? Man, you grab these tracks, and you just play through the tune, start messing with ideas, throw in a couple of arpeggios, and that's how you begin your journey on that. It doesn't just magically happen. You sit in your room, and you work with tracks, and you try and play it. These are fantastic tracks, a whole little jazz combo playing behind you. If you're interested, check them out in our store, the Real Book with the jazz tracks on it. That's great. The other thing I was thinking as far as jazz guitar resources, we've offered it before, our Creative Chord Substitution book by Eddie Arkin. That book is something that I have learned a lot of what I teach you is out of that book, the best book I know of for learning jazz harmony from a guitarist perspective. Easy to understand and covering some great stuff. Anyway, enough of all that. All right. Let me play something else for you. I want to play something else. Let's get the acoustic going here. Unfortunately, I can't hear the effects, so David, you're going to have to tell me if my effects are too much. Still have me? Okay, this is a little song called Terry's Song, a simple little tune that I wrote for a good, dear friend of mine that I've long since lost contact with. In college, her name was Terry, and I wrote this while we were hanging out during those times. Okay, it's the Terry song. There you go. A little bit of Terry song. That is also in our... the music for that is in the guitar course that I did. This is in the bonus resources book. I wrote that out. Now the bridge part isn't in there, but the main part of it, I've got the music and the tab and everything for that. It's a not too complex song for you to learn. All right, let's give away something else. Give away something else. Here is a kind of a coffee table Fender sort of a book. It's featuring Fender guitars. And the winner of this is Kookiest, I think is what it is. I can barely read it, but it's getting there. Kookiest, yes. Kookiest. K-O-O-K-I-E-S-T. Kookiest, you've just won the Fender book, kind of a little coffee table book with some great information about Fender guitars and stuff. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com, mailing address, what you want, screen name, things like that, and we will get that right out to you. Okay. Let me answer a question or two. Uncle Hammy is saying, how do you decide when to let the bass line ring and when to palm mute it like in a Travis style? Okay. Well, basically, it's the style that you're in. Like when I'm in jazz, I let everything ring because you want it not cut off. When I'm doing fingerstyle stuff like that, I generally don't cut off. But when I'm doing Merle Travis stuff, and it's a lot more kind of punchier, choppier, shorter. I don't have my thumb pick with me here, but so I'll just have to fake it. Something like that. Okay, then I would mute it down a whole lot more. When I'm doing more pop-sounding rock stuff on an electric, then I'm really digging in, then I'm muting a lot more. Okay, just kind of more for punch, more for kind of a punchy thing. So that's when it's basically, Uncle Hammy, it's just a stylistic decision, mainly. When I want that effect, it's in my arsenal to do it. I can make it a little bit punchier like that. Sounds better on an electric. I see some of you are asking, what course is he talking about? Which is odd for me that we have so many people that aren't familiar with the old, it's not even all that old. I did a course called Learn and Master Guitar that has been selling for years. I redid the course in conjunction with Gibson, and so we called it Gibson's Learn and Master Guitar. Those are available pretty much everywhere. They're in guitar centers, they're in Barnes & Nobles, things like that. Just look on my name on the internet, and you'll see Learn and Master Guitar. You can actually go to learnandmaster.com and get that course. That is a great course for just starting you out on guitar from zero. Here's a guitar. It's got 6 strings. And it takes you through learning your chords, learning how to read music. It's a very comprehensive, great course. We put out a lot of resources that came alongside that. One of them is called the bonus resources, which in the course, I was only able to give you 2 or 3 examples for every technique. Well, I know as an educator that it's going to take more than 2 or 3 examples for you actually to learn a concept. So I created this whole other 150-page book that's got all these extra exercises in it, these bonus resources, and so we just put them all together, called it a bonus resources book. So it's not going to make much sense without knowing the course. But if you have the course, then yeah, get the bonus resources, because you're missing half the course if you are not taking advantage of the bonus resources. If you want a printed version of the book, you can get the bonus resources book out of our store at guitargathering.com. Again, it's not going to make much sense without the course, so you need the course to go with it there. And you can get the course over at Legacy Learning Systems. They're the ones that put out the course. And just type in Learn and Master Guitar by Steve Krenz, or Learn and Master Guitar. You'll see it. And that's our course. Great course. So that's what that is. Neil ES335 is saying, I'm just about done with the fretboard workout jazz course. What do you suggest for next steps? I would suggest these arpeggios. I tell you, I use those all the time. Between the arpeggios and my chord knowledge, that's all I wish I could say I'm one of these huge jazz players. But I know a bunch of chords, and I know these arpeggios, and I've played a lot of jazz clubs, so I can kind of fake my way through around it a lot. So I would suggest working on arpeggios. That would be the next best thing, Neil, to do it. D. Skaggs is saying, what strings am I using on my J45? I like Elixirs. These are Elixir Lights, acoustic guitar. I like the Nano Webs. Elixir has the Poly Webs, which is kind of their full coating, and the Nano Webs, which is kind of the half coating. I prefer the coating rather than the uncoated, just because it just feels nicer to me. I just like it. Now, it takes a little bit, ever so slightly, takes a little bit of the zing out of your strings because of the coating. That's why I like the Nano Web, which it doesn't take that out quite as much as the Poly Web, the full coating. So I like the Nano Web. But I use Elixirs. They're a little bit more expensive, but I like the coating. And so I will gladly pay it. And you can go to different places online and get strings for pretty cheap these days. So yeah, buying strings at a store is going to cost you If you buy strings online, you can generally get a better deal for that. A lot of places I use is a place called Strings and Beyond, stringsandbeyond.com. A lot of good deals on strings right there. And that's what I use. Lights, Elixir NanoWebs. On my electrics, I'll use the NanoWebs too. Elixirs, just the electric guitar ones. Okay. Now, there are other great strings as well. I mean, Martin puts out great strings. They've got the phosphor bronze. They've got the 8020s. Gosh, I can't remember this other. I'll think of this other string manufacturers as well. There's a lot of good strings for acoustic guitar. Just you want to try and find one that works for you. Don't get a super heavy set. Okay, that's going to make it really hard for you to play. I like lights. I can do all my fingerstyle stuff. I can hammer on. I can do all that stuff. I can do that kind of stuff on a light set of strings. A heavy set of strings, I couldn't do that. Okay, or a medium. All right, cool. Any other questions before we get busy doing other stuff? And I have to land this ship. All right. I'm so glad everything seems to be working over at our Guitar Gathering YouTube page. That's great. I'm so glad that that's working. Our next live lesson will be next week, February 6th. And not quite sure what we'll cover, but we'll figure something out. We may even have Greg come back here in the next one or two live lessons just to kind of talk about some of the questions that we didn't get a chance to get to last time online. But check out the Greg's fantastic show that we did last week that we weren't able to stream. So check that out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be the biggest thing because we're going to cut the Ustream off fairly soon. All right. There you go. I want to thank our producers, Jordan Henderson and David Winkert tonight. Our wonderful unpaid moderator, Doug. Thank you so much for all that you do. I want to play out one more song. This is a song, If I Only Had a Brain, by Wizard of Oz. And I just listened to it, did a kind of a fingerstyle arrangement of it. So I'll try and kind of fake my way through that here. It's in the key of E. All right, good night, everybody. Keep up the great work in your own guitar learning, and we will see y'all next time.